First up, though, keeping them honest. Should teaching sex ed be a crime? Now, this is not a hypothetical question. In Wisconsin, a district attorney has warned teachers that if they use a new state government-mandated sex ed course, they could be committing a crime and serve up to 6 years in prison. Now, this is the letter the district attorney sent out to 5 school districts, and he's going to be on the program in a minute to defend the letter. But I just want to show you what the sex ed course is that he's opposed to is actually designed to teach. It was approved by the state government. No Republicans supported, I should point out, but Democrats passed it. The DA is Republican, by the way. The course is designed to be age-appropriate and is described as an instructional program in human growth and development for students from kindergarten to 12th grade. So what exactly does it teach? I want to show you just some of the specifics. Take a look at this. This is wording from the actual law passed in Wisconsin. It teaches the benefits and reasons for abstaining from sexual activity. That's one of the things. It also teaches the health benefits, side effects, and proper use of contraceptives. It'll also teach how alcohol and drug use affect responsible decision-making. And it'll also help students identify counseling, medical, and legal resources for survivors of sexual abuse and assault. Now, the schools can decide not to teach the course at all. They're not forced to teach it. And parents can take their kids out of the class. Still, the prosecutor says this course teaches kids how to have sex and will lead to sexual abuse of children. And to teachers who teach it, they could wind up in jail. Let's talk to the district attorney. His name is Scott Southworth. And coincidentally, he was actually a CNN hero in 2007 after he adopted a child from Iraq. So, Scott, you wrote this letter and sent it out to districts in your area. And a lot of your critics say that essentially this was a threat to get them not to obey the law, not to decide to teach these sex education classes. Why did you send the letter?
Well, first of all, it certainly wasn't a threat. I love the teachers in my district. My child goes to school in Juneau County. And what I really wanted to do was protect them and protect students. Unfortunately, this new mandate that the state has imposed takes us from sex education instruction, which I support, involving human reproduction, human physiology, and crosses the line, goes way too far into instructing children effectively how to engage in recreational sex.
But kids are obviously having sex. I mean, from all generations, kids have always had sex. In high school, you don't prosecute kids for having sex.
Actually, we do, because it's against the law, and I get referrals frequently on children who are having sexual intercourse and sexual contact. It's against the law in Wisconsin. And what I want to make sure is that we don't, A, have more victims because they believe that the teacher is implicitly or explicitly encouraging them to go out and have sex, and B, we don't put our teachers in a position where someone files a complaint against that teacher for encouraging those children to have sex. I want to protect the kids and the teachers until we can repeal or amend this particular law.
But you say in the letter that even if the teachers have a thought that somebody is having sex and teach this class, that basically that they can be punished because of that. I mean, should teachers then, if they know that two of their students are having, if two 16-year-olds are having sex with each other, should they report those students to the authorities?
They're required to report sexual assault of children. In the state of Wisconsin, because it's illegal, children also cannot give consent. There is no such thing as consensual sex with a child or by children.
So your critics, though, they say, look, that this letter does go way beyond legal opinion, that it offers personal opinion, political opinion. In the letter, you write, quote, "These new mandates will make my job much more difficult by converting objective human growth and development programming into a radical program that sexualizes our children as early as kindergarten." I mean, that sounds like a political statement much more than a legal one, that this is a radical program to sexualize kids.
Well, I believe it is a radical program to sexualize kids, and if it's viewed as political, I mean, let's make it clear. I'm an elected political leader, but I did everything I could to be, honorable and act with great integrity, and I worked very hard to ensure that I was giving a legal opinion on this particular act and not my personal opinion.
So, I mean, is it really your responsibility to then send out this letter to schools? Isn't it kind of injecting yourself into this? And again, it raises the question of, you are an elected official, you are a Republican. Is this just about politics to appeal to your base?
Well, no, I'm not up for re-election. I'm not running for anything at this point in time. And I've never sent a letter to my school districts in the 5+ years that I've been district attorney about sex education. And in my letter, it doesn't say how they should teach or not teach. That's an issue that the school boards are going to have to deal with. The legislature has put a mandate on the schools on what they have to teach if they choose to teach human growth and development. My job ethically was to say this is a change in the law, and here's the dichotomy in the law that teachers and our school boards now face. And I wanted them to know what the law states, where I think some of the problems are, and what I recommend them to do until the legislature in the next legislative cycle can address it, either to amend or repeal.
Scott Southworth, I appreciate you being on. Thank you. We'd like to get differing viewpoints on this program. I want to bring in now legal analyst Lisa Bloom. Lisa, is there a legal basis for this?
Absolutely not, Anderson. And if this district attorney doesn't understand the difference between teaching sex ed in schools and encouraging the sexual abuse of children, frankly, he is not fit to hold public office. He doesn't understand what every other district attorney in this country understands, which is giving children factual information about human anatomy and about sex and about birth control is a far cry from contributing to the delinquency of a minor. I'm absolutely shocked. And although he tries to backpedal and say, I'm not threatening anyone, why is he sending this letter to schools as a district attorney? Obviously, he is.
Well, he's saying
teachers.
It's a warning to teachers about what they, that they could be liable for this in a civil case or even criminally.
It's an absolute abuse of his power as a district attorney. My goodness, has he caught all the murderers and rapists in his jurisdiction? He's got nothing left to do except going after hardworking, underpaid teachers. Are you kidding me? Look, the legislature of Wisconsin passed a law enabling schools to teach sex ed, and you outlined it at the beginning of this segment. There's nothing in there about teaching kids how to have sex. In fact, one of the very worthy parts of this program is teaching kids what to do if they are sexually abused.
Well, I mean, his point, though, I think, and his biggest problem is with the idea of actually teaching how to use contraceptives. He feels that's like, doing a class on alcoholism and teaching kids how to mix drinks. That's how he equates it.
Children are entitled to factual information about the world, and children don't need to be taught how to have sex. What they need to be taught are the facts about sex, about human anatomy, reproduction, and the consequences of having sex, and how to protect themselves. It's not unlawful for two 16-year-olds to have sex with each other, or two 17-year-olds. When there's a difference in age, then it is unlawful. It is not unlawful for children to use contraceptives.
I did find it interesting.
Important.
I did find it interesting that this bill does allow parents to pull their kids out of the class if they want, if they object to it, and it also encourages kids to talk to members of their family. But to the DA's point, he says it doesn't say only talk to your parents. It encourages them basically to shop around to any member of the family who might kind of be approving of them having sex.
Right. The legislature said that families can opt out of sex ed, and that's fine. But look, if you use this district attorney's reasoning, a parent talking to a child about sex is contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Two kids talking about condoms or birth control or the morning after pill could be prosecuted by him under the same reasoning. They're talking about sex. They're contributing to the delinquency of a minor. I mean, it's absolutely breathtaking, the scope of what he's proposing.
Do you think it's political? I mean, he is Republican. No Republicans voted for this. It was passed by Democrats. And it clearly, goes against his personal and in some cases religious beliefs.
Well, it clearly does, and he's entitled as a citizen to speak out and try to get the laws changed through the legislature. What he's not allowed to do is to abuse his position as district attorney, which is not a political position. He doesn't get to pick and choose the laws that he's going to enforce. He doesn't get to try to actively oppose a law that was just passed by the legislature.
But he is an elected official.
And try to threaten teachers with his office.
He is an elected official, though, so that's what his critics say politics is at play, that he's appealing to his base, essentially, which he denies.
But he's elected as district attorney.
Right.
He's elected to enforce the laws of the county, and the laws are passed by the legislature. That's Civics 101. That's the way it works.
Lisa, stick around for a minute, because Bristol Palin, Sarah Palin's daughter, has taped an ad about teen pregnancy. Sort of relates to what we're talking about. I want to get your take on it. It even has her baby Trip in it. Take a look.
What if I didn't come from a famous family? What if I didn't have all their support?
We'll show you the complete ad in just a moment. Also ahead, a plan for Tea Party movements across the country to unite, forming a national federation with Sarah Palin perhaps playing a role. Details on that ahead.